So it's the 22nd of February 2025, and this is the beginning of what I would call year 3 for bonsai training of this Cedrus deodara or Deodar Cedar or Himalayan cedar. So in year 1 I wired it and was able to get this kind of twisty shape, and then took the wire off in year 2 and did some pruning to it to try and encourage back budding. And so now there's a year of growth ahead. I'm just trying to decide what to do with it. So I think what I'm going to do is prune it to try and encourage branching further back down towards the base of each branch, and then potentially I might also wire it if I've got time today. So one of the characteristics of this tree is it's got an element of pendulousness to it, and when you see it in parks, you can usually see one of these trees in a big park in the UK. You see a slightly horizontal branch which then weeps a little bit, and the secondary branches coming off that tend to weep, and we can see this kind of very floppy habit here. So we don't really want that in a bonsai. We don't really want long branches like this. So I'm going to chop this back fairly hard because we've got a whole year ahead of us, and it seems fairly vigorous. I remember last year, I think I pruned this twice last year, so you can definitely take it. And I think once I start pruning this back, it'll make the structure more visible, and then it'll be easier to make a decision about what to do. I think probably there's too much density here, especially around this region. So I probably want to take a major branch out of this region, and probably a few more major branches out. So I'm going to try and cut back to outward growing buds. So the next problem is around here. There's too much foliage. We need to take some out. So we've got a curve, so we want to take some out on the inside of that curve. Take this one out. And up here we've got too much. Here we've got too much, so some of this needs to come out. This downward branch will keep, I think. So let's take the middle one. So I think what I'm going to do now is wire it to accentuate the movement that I've managed to get into it already. So it's had a year off of wiring. The thing I would point out is that it is quite scarred, this tree. It's healing now, but it probably doesn't want to be kept on for more than, what's it now, February, March, April, May. Maybe take it off at the end of May, 3 months. Okay, I've got a really thick bit of wire here. quite nice working with such a vigorous, fairly mature tree. You're not so worried about breaking buds, and those that are broken will quite easily regrow or be replaced. Okay, so that's fairly tight in some places, and then there's quite a lot of gap in the others. I've tried to get it as tight as I could, but the wire was quite stiff, and in some places I've not managed, so that's okay. So we want to get movement in more than one plane. So let's see if I can demonstrate where it looks like I've failed to an extent. Yeah. Here we can see this very flat plane. And then here we can see much more curve. So I want to get this moving across this plane. So let's see if I can do that. Alright, so I'm quite happy with that as a result in the movement. quite a thick branch here that I could take out to accentuate that curve more. But in time, this branch could become an interesting feature. I'm going to take it out. So I think that's quite an interesting development in this tree. So we'll see how it gets on later in the year. Okay, because I changed the movement in the tree, some of the branches became very vertical. So I've just gone through and snipped quite a lot off. Just to encourage the vertical growth, just to encourage the horizontal growth. So that's it now. Instead of also wiring this one down here, I just cut the bit that was pointing upwards out. So that's simplified this area a bit more. Right, I'm really done now.